Tell me, what do you see when you're looking at me? Oh, whoa, oh, oh. Lay down a little bit. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the latest episode of Making the Case for Your Lawyer Dreams. I am your host, the one and only Anthony Denmark, founder, where we believe that everybody has a pathway to go to law school. And thus far, we've been able to prove it. No matter whatever obstacle you may be currently going through, there's somebody who's practicing law, rocking roads, who's done it. Which means what? You could do it too. I'm so happy to be able to have you guys here. I'm so excited about our next guest. She's an author, y'all. She's going to share her amazing story. I want you guys to make sure that you lock in. I want you guys to also understand that whatever challenge you are currently going through, you got it. You got it. If you believe you have it, you can achieve it. And I hope for you guys who never followed us before, go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you'll find an amazing array of guests who've also overcome similar obstacles and have broken through. We're all about normalizing challenges and showing you guys that it's something that's possible. Let us know where you're viewing our show from. Of course, I'm holding it down in St. Louis, Missouri. It is not the place where I want to be, like at all. But it's the place where God has me. Let me know where you're viewing our session from. I know that we got Illinois in the house. I know we got Nashville, my childhood friend Megan in the house. Let me also know where you're viewing our session from. One of the things I love about our show is that we're going to make it a space for you guys to get answers. So fill up our chat box. Come away fed. Get your answers addressed and have a clear path of what you have to do next. I'm really excited about our next guest, and we have so many other amazing guests coming on up. So, without further ado, let's get the author, attorney Nija Bassfield, to share her story of going from dismissed to Esquire. Yo, impossible is nothing, y'all. Impossible is nothing. In the word impossible, it says I'm possible. So let's roll, y'all. Let's go and get her on and share her story. And I know as soon as I speak, the screen's going to pop up like it always does. How we doing today, sis?
Doing good. How you doing, Anthony?
I am blessed. I'm cold, but I'm
I'm
blessed.
cold too. I'm in Baltimore, so I'm cold too.
I jokingly told somebody I just got through finishing up a session with a student, and I literally said, sometimes the coldness is an answer to our prayers. Ain't no excuses outside. You
No,
better get your butt inside and grab that
and
book.
lock it right.
You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, sis, I'm so excited to be able to have you on the show. When I saw the title of your book, I was like, oh my God, I love this. And I think for so many out there, they are looking for answers and solutions. And a part of our show is about normalizing the struggle and realizing that, hey, man, this is just a part of the growth process, dog. We just got to keep on pushing.
We have to. We have to.
And so I want to give you the floor first to make your formal introduction. Then we're going to start talking like family.
Okay. Everyone, my name is Nija Bassfield, originally from Baltimore, Maryland. Went to, if you read my book, I went to University of Baltimore School of Law in 2014. I went 1 year, started spring semester of my second year, got an email I was academically dismissed. And there was no way to appeal it. So I had to sit out 2 years. I went and got my master's degree to kind of like stay involved in school. And I went to a fair. Everyone should go to the LSAC fair, go to different tables. And I came across UDC. Went to them, told my situation, apply anyway. They told me I got accepted to the Jumpstart program, did that program, bridged me right and back into law school. Mind you, this was 2019. I filled out 2014. So just having the initiative and the perseverance to, like, never accept no. Never
Mm.
accept no. Like, for me, I apply to anything. I think anyone should always apply to everything. If they say no, you go somewhere else. But one quote that I live off of is, when man says no, God says yes.
Hold
And
on,
so
say that one more time for those who miss church.
when man says no, God says yes.
All the time.
And so for me, that was my motivation. Doors were shut. I could have quit. I
Yeah.
applied every year, y'all. Every year, I kept applying. I kept applying. We're going to waitlist you. Applying to the same school. This school wrote my addendum. This school helped me with recommendation letters. I was so perplexed, but fast forward now, God had that orchestrated. Like, you cannot go back there, but I need you to get these rejections and keep building up, building up, building up your strength and perseverance, because I'm going to need you now. And so that's what motivated me to kind of write this book, because that first year law school there is a predominantly white school. I needed support. I didn't have a me. And I'm not perfect at all,
Right.
but I did not have a me. So for me, my motivation is that they have access to me. And many of my friends, colleagues who I see across the world, you, Anthony, doing the work, we need support.
Yeah.
We need support. And so that's my motivation in doing this charge.
And let's keep it also a buck too, right? We don't go this hard if we don't love this. And I think that's the amazing thing. And I always start all of my interviews off with this. It's gonna have some brown sugar vibes now. I'm gonna show my age, show my
Oh,
grade. And I always ask this question because I feel like for so many of us, this journey to becoming a lawyer, it takes you places. It takes you out of comfort zones. It forces you to see yourself. It's a humbling process. But we don't stick on this or keep this path unless it's not something that we love. So I always ask, when
well, initially, I wanted to be a pediatrician. So I remember growing up, I would, every Halloween, I wanted scrubs because my passion was always to help people. So I've always wanted a career to help people. And then one day, I said, I don't like hospitals and blood and needles and all that other stuff. So what else am I really interested in? And I was like, you know what? I like helping people. I see people have been wronged and, have certain injustices going on in their life. I want to be an attorney. And so my focal point was to help those who did not have a voice for themselves, because I always spoke up. Elementary school class president, middle school, high school, college. I've always wanted to advocate for someone who did not have a voice. And so that was my motivation in going into law. And you have to fall in love with it. You can't be an inconsistent student. You
that
you
part,
cannot. You cannot. It's like, I want to be Michael Jordan, but I don't want to practice. I want to be Tiger Woods, but I don't want to go out, on the golf course when it's 30 degrees. You have to do these things. You have to be invested in the process. And that has to be the motivation for law students now. Now we have a lot of injustice facing us. We have a lot of adversities. And if you want to do this, you have to lock in. You really have to lock in.
yeah, I mean, I would say something that when we're going through it, we don't appreciate it. But I'm gonna say this: like, the reason why I think the journey is so tough is it's intentionally tough to filter out people who aren't invested in it. Because ain't nothing, and I want you guys out there to be able to realize, listen, if you're struggling with the LSAT, okay, if you're struggling getting admitted into school, if you're struggling with finals, because finals, they wrapping up finals now,
Yeah.
right? You remember those days.
I remember those days.
If you're struggling with the bar exam, I want you guys to understand that it's okay. You're in the right place. That is not a sign from above to quit. You're in a space that you've never been in before. And right now, one of the things that I loved about her book, yo, y'all better go get this. Just Mr. Esquire Law School Checklist Survival Guide now is learning one of the lessons that we both had to learn is the value of asking help. You don't have to do this on your own. And I think, honestly, one of the things you could probably talk about is how that was maybe the initial source of your struggle for everything, really was, I got this, dog. But I've been
Yeah.
heavy lifting my whole life. Go ahead and let them know, sis.
Like, I never did bad in school. So we have elementary school did good, middle school, high school, undergrad. Got to law school, same thing, right? It is not the same thing. I don't have a lawyer in my family. I don't have people with professional degrees and doing these roles. I don't have that. So that took a different level of strength, assistance, knowledge that unfortunately our counterparts have access to. They have access. We need access to that. And so for me, asking for help was a challenge. It was a challenge. And looking back, I regret it. I reached out, but like not fully. Was like, hey, can you send me like a practice question? Like, no, I need you to sit me down and teach me how to write. How do I write? Like, how do I take notes? Those simple questions make you successful in law school. How do I study? Hey, you got one grade. You do your final exam, or you may get two midterm final. That's it. Oh, I got it. I can learn. No, no, you have to ask for help. No one is too big to not ask for help. No one.
And the thing that's amazing is now I feel like we're at a great place where people are now using platforms like social media or GroupMe or Facebook to create these support groups for you guys to get help at different stages of your journey, right? So if you're struggling with the LSAT, we since we created a free LSAT support group, we got two of them. They got like 500 folks up in it. So ask away. You're struggling with law school. Hey, listen, you know those things called professors? They got them office hours for a reason, and those professors don't bite. And I want you to be able, I guess it's very rare because I was dismissed from law school in 2009. And I remember going through my journey. The first thing I did was go to Google. It's like, what can I find? How do I figure this out? And I feel like it's almost like it's a forgotten community of people out there who get dismissed and they're just lost and they're looking for direction. And I remember I was just like, I kind of imagine it's like you just running from this corner, running to this corner. Tell us about, because there may be somebody out there who may be on the cusp of being dismissed. What did you do to help find your bearings? Because those first 6 months, it's a dark space. It is, and I can attest to that.
It's a very dark space. And I think at the time, how we talk about mental health now and the benefits of, at that time, I really wasn't engaged in those self care tips and mental health tips. But to get an email to say, hey, you are no longer enrolled here, you have to like sit out. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean I'm getting dismissed from my dream? Because at the time, that's my dream. And now you're telling me I can't pursue my dream.
And also,
And
I think about it like this too, sis. You've been going nonstop since kindergarten.
since kindergarten, nonstop, right?
And
No
all of a sudden
breaks.
you're saying, I'm not good enough. I ain't never heard that mess before.
No.
And then you see the business aspect when they say, get out. Damn. I, you just gotta, okay.
You and so you do have to reflect.
Yeah.
So when they say get out, you reflect. But like you said, Google, like, okay, I'm dismissed now what?
Yeah.
This school telling me I have to sit out 2 years. I have to pause 2 years of my life. So what do I do with that time? And so this the time where you have to figure out, okay, what went wrong? Was it scheduling?
Yeah.
Was I balancing like a job, a relationship, a child? Should I have like done things differently? Did I go to office hours? Professors are very beneficial with office hours. Did I utilize them? Because when it comes down to grades, if I seen you more in the semester, you getting a B plus. If I didn't see you too much, you come to me last minute, I'm not. You getting a C. You getting a C minus. And so, utilizing your resources now, it's very important. But at that time, for me, I really had to pause because I'm not a big crier, but I cried so many days after that because this entity told me no, like you're not good enough. They even told me we won't even know how you got accepted anyway. And so
Oh,
I
now
had to.
I can't think of, those spaces, because I was saying this to somebody else. I said, from brown and black communities, we speak two languages. We got that professional language, and we got that language that said, I wish you would. But the crazy thing is, when you go through that process, you're just so numb. You're like, huh? Because
And I
I'm
didn't
checking out.
respond. Like, you numb. You stuck. You like, wait, this person just told me I'm not. How did I get here anyway? First of all, me getting here was a success
Yeah.
because Brown and Black, we have so many barriers to our success. Off the rip, the worst thing I hate in the Constitution, we're not even like a whole person.
3/5.
Every time I read that, I'm like, you don't even think I'm a whole person.
And for
So
you
that
guys
right there mentally
law school
messes me
students,
up.
that's the most awkward class you will ever take. Time
Awkward
out.
class.
You will have people in class being very reckless, saying stuff that they would not say outside of the classroom. Am I right?
You're so right. In that class in particular, going through equal protection and, you know, having counter arguments to why there shouldn't be affirmative action and abortion and all these rights that we need to ensure that everyone has access to. But those moments is very challenging. But brown and black people, we have always struggled, but we always persevere. I'm reading in the chat, someone's mom passed away, finances was low. These are things that we go through every day, but the beauty of it, it motivates us to be successful. So like those situations, like your mother passed away, that is detrimental. Finances low, two big things, but you will be successful because historically we always had to fight and
And then
we always overcome.
it made me think about the Maya Angelou poem. Still I arise. I
Still I
arise.
rise.
I arise. I arise. And so the thing for you guys again who just joined us, we're alive and in full effect with the author, attorney, Nija Bassfield, Dismissed to Esquire, Law School Survival Guide. Yo, pick it up. It's a great read. I want you to also talk about so when we're trying to get our bearings, and for you guys who may say, well, I'm trying to go to law school, understand literally this whole journey really is a journey of self reflection. You have to learn how you learn. And oftentimes, when we do get into law school, we bring our bad habits that we had from undergrad with us. And that's why it's very challenging. So, this is information that you guys could utilize, which she also talks about in her book about ways to avoid the pitfalls that me and her both went through in regards to getting dismissed. And so, tell me about how you end up making your plan. Like, all right, bet this is what we're going to do. Because I tell you, the hardest part of mine was having to make them calls to schools, and they'd be like, "Y'all, we don't accept dismissed students." I'm like,
I, you gotta wipe the tears and you keep. I sent so many emails. First of all, sending that email was hard.
yeah,
I'm writing an email. Hi, my name's Nija. I was academically dismissed from law school, but I want to come here. They respond, you need to send us a letter of good standing. Well, I'm not in good standing with my old law school. So if you are academically dismissed, if you do reapply, they ask you for a letter of good standing.
right,
And I remember applying because I was like, you know what, University of Baltimore, I'm done. I'm done. It's
yeah,
time to apply somewhere different. And every year I reached out to them for that letter. We can't give it to you. We can't give it to you. We can't give it to you. I got
no,
rejected so many times until one time the registrar, she was retiring and she wrote back, I am sending it to you today. And I was like, wait, this lady who kept telling me no is finally giving me this letter that I need to apply to other law schools. She sent it to me. She like I think she resigned or retired like that next week. She was done. But I knew that God had to help, soften her heart to give me that letter. But you're going to need that letter. Because schools, even still, schools like, can you handle it? So I have to prove myself again
yeah,
to this new school that I can handle law school. And so when you are looking at law schools, you really have to figure out the type of person you are. It does require self-reflection. If you need a village, don't go to a school that don't have a village. Don't go to a school that's not engaged on social media. Don't have like supportive groups, affinity groups. Why go there? Don't set yourself up. I went to UDC. If you come to DC, people will still say, where's UDC? What school is that? Why you didn't go to Howard? I still get those questions. But guess what? Our school has a good bar passing rate. We get jobs. So regardless of what school you choose to go to, you make that school successful. So don't get caught up in names, but you do have to reflect on your needs as an individual when you're looking at law schools, because there's so many law schools across the country. But you don't have to go to Harvard to
Mhm.
become this attorney. You can go anywhere. Everyone's path is very different.
And to Yvonne's question, and you tell me if I answer this right, because sometimes law schools are petty.
Yeah, yeah,
Law
they're
schools
petty.
on some petty Eddie mess, like for real. Just and professors be on some petty Eddie mess too.
Professors are worse. Professors are worse. So like the group chat that we have, they have the same group chat going on. So they name drop us. You know, we name drop a professor. They name drop a student. So they're very petty, and so choosing a law school, it's gutsy, but I do think you should visit. You should definitely visit, get a feel of the students, the environment when you go. But if you choose to go to law school, you have to be serious. This is not playtime. It's not undergrad. It is so not undergrad. So my book talks about, like, when you think about how do I prepare for class, you can't, undergrad, you got up 8 o'clock class, these sweats on, walked in there, you was like, no, this requires some work before class. Like a week before class, you should be prepared for the class for next week. And and I talk about, like, so constitutional law, for instance, let's say you have class. I'm supposed to read 4 cases on Wednesday. And let's say we're talking about 1920s, where everybody know women got the right to vote 1920. So like you should be reading about different things that happened in that year. So when you go into class, you are prepared to think deep, not think surface based. And so preparation is key into all of this. I know for me, when I knew it was time to go back to law school, preparation was key. My personal life had to be in order. Finances, you know, mapping out my weeks. And I was an evening student, so I worked.
Yeah.
So it's okay now as you work. So when you gonna study, my weekends. I was commuting, so I worked 9 to 5, drove from Baltimore to DC. Class ended 9:15. Got back to Baltimore at 10:30. I
Yeah.
didn't have time to study. Studying had to be on the weekend, so that was a sacrifice that I had to make. So all of this is about knowing yourself. You
And
have to know yourself.
one of the things I definitely want you to speak on too is like, because I was talking to a student. Again, I love my New Yorkers. I got a lot of students in New York. But one of the things I was ministering to her about, and I guess I want you to also help in this area, is listen, fam, this lawyer dream, comfort zones and lawyer dreams don't go together.
No, no.
Listen, I know that you like New York. I know that you like the South. I know that, hey, if I go to school here, I ain't gonna have to travel. The kids can stay right here. But listen, this journey is not going to be about comfort zones. And if you are only conditioning your lawyer journey to be on a comfort zone, it's not going to happen because you're going to have to commute. So when Sis talked about driving from Bmore to DC, I was like, damn, I remember I was driving 2 hours a day to go to law school. And I thought I was doing something. And I found out somebody else was staying in a hotel going to law school. And so everything that you think is uncomfortable, there's somebody out there who has hunger that is doing way more than you. But that hunger makes you focus. That hunger makes you lock in. When you had that dream wasn't attached to a school, a state, or a
No.
location. Because I think the thing that was crazy is I wonder you can talk about this, like what was the level of focus that was different the first time compared to the second time? Because I know the second time the ego was out the door. Man, we straight humble like a mother.
Oh,
Sorry.
sitting there like ego out the door. Like I had a plan. I was like, okay. I wrote down all my professors, all their office hours, all their contact information. That was on like one sheet. I went to them soon as syllabus came out. Hey, when are your office hours? And I would get their dates. That was in my spreadsheet. So I knew Tuesday I'm going to see this person. Wednesday I'm logging on at lunchtime to see this person. Friday I'm seeing this person. And I had a system that I will always pick something from class that I didn't understand, and I would email them after class. I did it historically every week. I would pick a concept, not an easy concept, but a concept that I didn't quite understand. Send my teacher an email. Hey, can you clear this up for me? Just to build relationships and also to get understanding. And I knew when it came to grades, I'm sorry, law school is a game too. When it came to grades, you have to separate yourself. You have to separate yourself. So why not invest in your law school career and be invested in this process if you're not willing to give your all? So like for me, that was like the first thing I did. And like I said, I really my hours, my time management skills had to be type A. You know, I knew I had to work, I had to drive, gotta eat, gotta sleep, weekends, I gotta study. Your schedule has to be so tight. Because what, Anthony, we're only asking for 3 to 4 years of your life.
Only.
It's just 3 to 4 years of your life. It may sound a lot, but law school go by so fast.
Now
It
let's
goes by so fast.
let's go ahead and talk to these. I don't want to say these youngins, but families like we would a aunt, like we are uncle or auntie. What would you tell them? Because I felt like about toxic relationships and toxic people during this time. Because I feel like if there's any point where you have to be selfish, like I had to cut a lot of things out of my life and I had to prioritize a lot of things. I never forget my mentor said, he said, "You want to have a six pack or you want to go to law school?" I,
Mm,
it's like that gym could wait.
yeah.
Gym could wait. You got to study, but I had them six pack books. I was like, dang.
Dang.
But I want people to understand the level of focus and sacrifice so that they try to avoid what we kind of learned the second time around.
Like, we all go to brunch Saturday, Sunday, Sunday fun day, brunch. I'm sorry. They gotta go on pause. It has to go on pause. Friend if this person is your friend, they understand, you know what, not just studying right now. Let me not bother her. She gonna like link up with us when you have time. But like if your friend pushes back even slightly a little bit, that is not your friend. That is not your friend. Oh girl, you always studying. Cut off. Your cutoff game has to be so strong during this time. Because they you need that support throughout this journey. And if you can't support me while I'm in it, you will not reap no benefits in the future. So like relationships too. If you're dating anyone and they want you to put you have to have a balance, right? You have to have the balance. But if they want you to no. No. This is my dream because ultimately we are like becoming attorneys to help greater masses of people. So if you don't want to support my journey to help the greater masses of people, because you're going to benefit, but your cutoff game, I'm sorry. Anybody who I felt, if I had a tick or a
Yeah.
ick of it, you gotta go. If I felt like you gotta go. If my spirit, always do a spirit check and a peace check. If it went against it, I'm sorry. So brunches gotta wait. Happy hours gotta wait. It's not saying that you can't do these things. There are ways of you
Yeah.
have breaks and stuff, but like week to week, day to day, it's a small sacrifice for a bigger goal. So you have to keep that in the forefront.
And I know the biggest sacrifice I had to make, I had to say, I can't go to homecoming. I'm sorry, I can't go to
Oh,
homecoming.
we know how people feel about homecoming.
That was hard. But I think the thing that's so amazing about this process is it's humbling. And it's humbling because you're learning, I got to make changes in order to take the next step. And we went through that process and we had to get that letter to be able to get that humble pie that we probably avoided so long ago. If we would have had our systems updated beforehand, we would have came in ready. But I
Yeah,
also we go through struggles not just for us to survive them, but for us to be able to share them so other people don't have to go through them. And I think that's what's beautiful about your survival guide. And so we get back into law school, right? We get on professors' nerves. Cause I'm sure you got to the point where they were like, damn, no, I ain't seeing you today.
I
No,
had one professor.
I,
He was like, Nija. So one thing I do promote debriefing. So when you take a course, meet with your professor afterwards to debrief because what can I improve on, professor, for like next semester? And I had to call our professor. He's like, I'm not meeting with you. You got an A. I'm not meeting with you. I was like, Professor, I thank you, but no one's perfect. And there's something I can improve on moving forward for next semester. But don't be afraid that after you end a semester, debrief with your professor, go over your exams, figure out if there's something that could have tweaked for next semester. But like professors did eventually like start shutting me down. Like, we're not wasting our time with you. You know, you're on a good path, but it doesn't hurt to start for anybody that's in law school now.
And the thing about it is, I think I remember, sis, I got kicked out of my property professor's office, and she was like, Anthony, I am not going to answer your questions. You're going to answer your questions. Go sit outside and wait for 5 minutes. You know, I was back up in that damn office 5 minutes later. And the thing about it, you guys, and we share these stories because, listen, man, like, you're on a journey of you're learning how to process information. For most of your life, you've been doing memorizing and regurgitating. That's what you've been doing. Now you're learning how to critically think. And I know it may sound silly to say things like learning how to write, learning how to read, but fam, that's kind of what you're doing in your first year of law school. And it's a hard thing to accept. Well, I wrote a paper when I was in college. I did this.
That blue book is different than APA and MLA. It is two different two different things.
And so I want you to share some experiences because I think what your story shows is that it's possible. I think the amazing thing I want you to be able to share is that second time around when you got through with finals and you got your grade. I swear for God, I thought I failed. Because all I remember was failing last. I was like, damn, I done got dismissed again. Tell me what that validation moment was. Because, I mean, it's a beautiful moment when you realize I'm here.
It, cause remember, dismissed at like a 1 point something. I get my first semester grades. I had a 3.6, and
Woo-hoo!
I was like, this can't be the same person. I was like, this cannot be because my stomach was. I was sick to my stomach when the grades dropped. You know, the group chat, everybody in the group me, y'all grades dropped. Da, da, da. Everybody logging on. I was sick to my stomach. Like I was like, oh my god, and failed again. Like I mean, sweating. Like I can't check these grades. And when I looked, I just cried.
Yeah,
I sat and cried because I was like, oh my god, like I can do this. This was first year classes. I was like, wait, I know torts, I know contracts, I
yeah,
know Civ Pro. Like I know these things. I was successful in this. And so that motivated me from that point forward. Law school for me was like, I'm game on. But throughout that semester, though, I utilized those skills of taking notes. I was really focused on office hours, really understanding class is class. We
yeah,
walk out of class, you don't know everything.
yeah.
Ask questions. Study groups. I'm not big on big study groups. I'm indifferent about it, but it's some. I always find somebody who not smarter than me, or who I just find a person who thinks like total opposite of me,
Yeah.
and I try to study with that person because we just see things two different ways, and that helps me. If I feel like I'm pulling a study group, I leave. If we the same, I leave. I don't really waste my time with things like that. But find the person who thinks opposite of you and can help you go through these things. But it's a full-time job. So like you have a full-time job, but this is like a full-time job. But if you want to be a lawyer, you have to sacrifice. And like you said, doing things uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Anything we do uncomfortable makes us successful. If
Hold on.
this was comfortable, everybody would do it. Everybody would do it. If law school was comfortable, everybody will pass. Everybody get a 180. Everybody will get in law school. Everybody become a lawyer. But no, this requires a different group of people. A person who has grit. A person who is resilient. A person who's persistent. Who can be humble. Who is going to work. You have to be that person because you're asking to hold a license. We charge our licenses. This license, you worked hard for it, and so you want to ensure that like you doing the work to put in for it.
And I think the thing that's beautiful is after you got that validation, what no shortcuts, man. I was
No,
hungry. I'm
I
hungry. Woo-hoo, like, let's go.
I was so oh, after that, no. I set that bar, and guess what? We either hitting that bar every semester or higher. And that's when I started getting involved in extracurricular activities. I was like, okay, I didn't do this when I got dismissed. Maybe I can weed in some type of student government role. So I started like taking on little things. but still balancing because like law school get you too. You sign up for everything, and but school shouldn't get on the back burner. That should be the forefront. So I'm always leery when one L's want to come in and do like extracurricular activities. I get it, but them internships when you want to apply to in the summer, they want to see your grades.
Right, right. So one thing I want to get into also is I also want to talk about like, let's be a buck. Oftentimes we are okay or comfortable in our own bubble. We have circle, our tribe that we're with, but you know, this lawyer journey, if you ain't networking, because your colleagues that you go to school with are going to be people that you're going to see in the profession, how do we go about networking? And I want people to feel comfortable in spaces where they may be one of few, because I think I tell people, listen, man, opportunities and blessings comes in all shapes, sizes, colors, races, and genders. And if you put yourself in this box, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities, because I have had some folks that I would have never ever thought would have took a chance on me. And I really want to share that experience so people can understand the comfort level with it. Because hey, I get 8 no's a day, but you got to keep pushing.
You got to keep pushing. Like for me, like so people think UDC is like a HBCU, but like my class was predominantly white. My class was predominantly white, and so even like I did like a video about my property class. So we were in property, we were talking about condominiums and different things of the sort. And the teacher said, raise your hand if you like own a condo and you're a landlord. All of we just I'm saying like I don't own that. They're like, oh yeah, we can tell you all about it. And I was like, wait, okay. So after class, guess what? Can we talk about that? And so they started taking me like for lunches and like different events. So like speak to your colleagues that come from different races, different, socioeconomic statuses, because it exposes you to like different things that you don't know about. So when you have those events at school, you may not be interested in intellectual property, but you should go tell your story, tell about yourself, because somebody in that room is going to relate to you. And so when you have these events on campus, I tell people to go. It may not be a field of choice, but you should go. Go on LinkedIn if they have any events in like the any area where you stay, go to those events. If you're an introvert, get a buddy. Like, hey, can you go with me? Or you go alone. That's another thing too. Go alone. So like me, when I go to events, I try to find one person to lock in with. So I go and I look around and I just walk up and talk. I'm very extroverted, but it's still very nerve wracking. I'm still nervous, still sweating. But I walk up, introduce myself, be natural, and talk. 'Cause a lot of my scholarships, Anthony, it came from, listen, it didn't come from people that look like me.
Yeah.
And those same people came when I passed the bar. They came to my swearing in. They came in the snow because I got sworn in. It was a blizzard. They said, "Naja, we'll be there." They were there, very supportive. Gave me money for school. So you have to receive, but be kind. I tell everybody, be kind. Always be kind, because you never know who you're talking to. You just never know.
And so you mentioned the bar, right? And so folks done heard about the bar. They done heard the fears about the bar. Now I want you to take us back in the time machine. We graduated from law school, right?
Yeah,
Now it's bar time.
part time.
So go ahead and put us in your shoes, ties, heels. Tell us about what that struggle looked like, because that struggle, woo, like it.
So, man, so that cutoff game I talked about before, this is a serious cutoff game, okay? Because we talking about from May to July, nothing. So, like, my mom, we talked every day, and I was like, you know what, mom? We talked for like a long time every day, but we can't do that for the bar exam. So, I was like, I could schedule 15 minutes every day, so that was like the time I set aside to talk to her. But I was up every morning 8:30. Got to school, did my hours. Guess what? Came home, dinner, shower, same thing. You do this every single day. You have to schedule times to text. schedule times to talk, schedule times to eat. You have to be so rigid with this. And unfortunately, I see so many students that have unfortunately failed the bar who were still traveling, still brunching, still dinners, still happy hours. And I'm not saying you're not taking it serious, but it requires a different level of sacrifice. Again, as law school required 3 to 4 years, this requires 2 months and like a half a sacrifice for the license. So you did law school. Law school's done.
Yeah.
Now we're just asking you to set aside 2 3 months to study for this license that will carry you forever. And so that every day I was doing it, I was like a zombie. I was like, wait, I'm just waking up,
You
order
eat
my coffee on my phone.
your drink
Yes.
off.
I'm just like, oh my God. And I was like, wait, I do this every day? Because I have students now. Hey, Nija, can I take off any days?
Nah,
You can, but guess what? You're going to make it up.
yeah.
Can I like study 6 days and not the seventh day? You can. But who wants to get a bar exam result back and it says fail, all because you did not want to sacrifice?
Because the main
That's just
about the bar is it builds on itself. Those 1 days, how many problems or questions that you didn't do?
man.
Woo! And I think the thing that's amazing about it is what I tell people. I used to say this line a long time ago. I used to say that, listen, man, law school is stingy. The bar is stingy. You got to treat it like a main chick. You cannot treat this Joan like a side piece.
It is not a side piece. It is. It has to be the main chick. Like, I guess for me, what else would you be doing?
Yeah,
Like, is a brunch that deep? Is a dinner date that deep? Is extra few hours of sleep that deep? You
yeah,
know, when you think about it, it's not that deep. It is really not that deep. And I've told myself I am not doing this twice. Like after like a month, you're like, I am not doing this twice. Financially,
yeah.
that exam was like almost $1,000 to take the. You know the worst fee about the whole bar exam was the laptop fee. DC charged you $150 fee to use my laptop to take the exam. I had to pay a fee, and so you have all these fees. You probably not working. You know, you're taking out loans. You're trying to save up all these financial pressures. Why do that twice? Why not just invest all of your time, all of your energy, all of your focus right after law school and just be done? And so I do run across a lot of students these past few years that just don't take it serious. And I get it, the burnout. I always say burn. Naj, I'm burnt out. You know, I went to law school, I need a break. But you're not done. You're not done. Like, you're not done.
And I think the thing that's amazing about it is it's just like what I tell people is on your lawyer journey, there's no shortcuts. There's only one way. That you're going to be uncomfortable. So when are you gonna do it? You gonna do it a year from now? Next month? It's gonna come. And I think the thing that's amazing about it though is by people hearing our stories and seeing the journey, then it's like, you know what? I'm okay. And I want to know, like for you, I want you to put us in your shoes slash heels when you got those results. Where were you? How did that go? I know them tears were flowing. The fan was loud. How was it?
So DC just tells you you'll have them by, I think we were supposed to have them by like October 28th, right? That's all they said. No, did they give us a day? No, late October.
Late. Oh,
So that means what? You mean the 20th late? The 25th late?
Halloween.
Like, what day? And so it was a Monday. No, it was a Monday. And this when I was clerking for DC Superior Court. So all the law clerks, we were going to happy hour. And so we all met in chambers. I think we met in my chambers actually. It was around like 5:30. We get an email
Oh, sweet.
at 5:45.
Oh.
Results will drop tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. I said,
So that means I got to go to work. No one I pass. I'm sick day. Let's roll.
sick. So all of we just stared at each other. He was like, well, we still going out or no? But remember we had no date they were coming out, and you tell us the night before they're going to drop tomorrow morning. And so, of course, that night I'm like, man, this is it. Like, this is it. And so, still very nervous. And this day, like, my judge didn't get in until like 9. So I knew, like, get my results in the morning. Depending on what it is, I'm gonna send a little message and leave. I sit down. She comes in at 8:30 with me. I said,
No.
"Oh my God!" She's like, "Why you here so early?" I'm like, "Why you here so early?" She was like, "Why you like all jittery?" I'm like, "Cause bar results about to come out." She's like, "Well, check them." She's standing over my shoulders. I'm
Oh,
like,
all in my space.
I say, "Ma'am, I'm about to check these right now." And so DC makes you log in, put your password, log in again to another box. Then you have to click messages. Then you have to click bar results.
Oh my
Then
God.
you have to click another button. Then this document comes up. Then you have to open the document. And so it reads like you were successful or you were unsuccessful. So you're reading it like, it doesn't say passed. And so you're reading like, well, you get all like, because you like, at this point, you don't know what's going on. I'm like, am I successful? Like, what is it saying? And I remember when it says successful, I just cried. Like, I just felt my body just go like, because I never, Yvonne, it was a lot. I never thought that like this day would come, and it was here. I was done, and I knew like God, you really answered my prayer. Like after all these years, like you really answered my prayer. And she was there. She was like hugging me. She was so excited. And so a lot of you will get results at work if you're working like when bar results come out. But that feeling that day, even now, like I still get like overjoyed and overwhelmed thinking about it. Cause like remember, I'm going from dismissed 2014, still like saying, you know what, this is my dream. I'm going to conquer this dream. Cause like remember the quote, when man says no, God says yes. And that's always in my head. And so like I keep going, 2019, back in law school, 2023, graduated law school. It's like 9 years later. And when I was writing about, I'm like, wait, this was 10 years, 10 years ago? I'm doing all this? And so fast forward, I'm like, wow, like all my work. And so the book now for me, it honestly, it took me a long time to tell this story. I was very embarrassed. I've never told this story publicly until this book came out. Even people that I've met like in law school, they said, you failed out before? Not you, not the student you are. But it took me a long time to open up about being dismissed because it was something I was truly, truly embarrassed about. And I am happy now and blessed that I've actually shared this story because once I announced it on LinkedIn, I had so many inboxes from lawyers, law students, like I filled out too, I filled out too. So this village is larger than we can even expect, but it's such a sensitive topic. I mean, nobody want to say you filled out law school. It's very uncomfortable. You're embarrassed, but it's retraining and programming your mind to say that failure that you're going through now is going to be the catalyst to make you successful in the future. And so there'll be more people like me that can tell the story. More people like you, Anthony, that can say, you know what? I remember when, but look at me now. And so we have to make sure we put it out there that we motivate law students that we don't want anybody to else be dismissed. But if you are dismissed, we're showing the representation that you can be successful because we did it. We did it. And so like everyone should have it at the forefront because I look back, thought my dream was dead when those people told me like, how did I even get into this law school? Why am I here? Like, we can't let you in. And I could have stopped. I
Yeah.
could have stopped. But I said, no, I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep going. And I told you, every year I get that letter, I'm going to keep requesting this letter. UDC, God sent UDC to me. They let me in, gave me a chance. This school took me under its wing year by year. I've never had such a family oriented village want to ensure that even them, I had teachers didn't know I was dismissed before because I came back for a different mindset. I came back that nobody was ever going to outwork me. I came back knowing that I was going to go. all in, because I knew that, like, every day in the shower, I pray, God, make sure that you put me in places that I can bless your people. You
Ooh,
know, every day I am in the shower, I pray, God, make sure that you put me in places I can bless your people. Make sure you send me ways, send me things. So sometimes I'm thinking about ideas, because I want to ensure that I'm blessing the masses of his people. And so that's kind of like my motivation to work. Like, every day I pray in the shower, I say the same thing. God, make sure that I'm doing what I need to do for, like, law students worldwide. You know, give me ideas, give me tips. You know, make sure I can do these things. If I can help one person, I've done enough, but I want to help more. Cause, Anthony, you know that feeling when
yeah,
you that feeling when they said you dismissed. It's a horrible feeling. You don't want nobody to go through that. And
that's
if you go through that, you have to shift this person's mind, whoever you meet, to say, you know what, you went through that, but that does not define you.
yeah.
That does not define you. And so if you look at me, it took me 10 years, but the successes that I've had, the humbleness that I've developed,
Yeah.
and you have to pour, like, I'm continuously pouring, because I know my blessings come from pouring. I can't keep these things inside. I can't keep skills and tips and strategies inside. I can't keep mentorship inside, because that means everything I went to would be in vain.
And the thing that I think about, which is so amazing, and if you guys who didn't go to church, you about to get a message right here, is when we started our journey, we just wanted to be a lawyer, right?
But that's it. I just want to be a
God,
lawyer, personal injury lawyer. Let me just go do some cases and call
yeah,
it a day. That's
we
it.
just become lawyers. But God said, I want to help you make other people become lawyers.
Mm.
And so you're going to get yours. But then after that, you're going to actually make a way for other people to manifest their lawyer dreams. And I think sometimes you realize, begin to realize, this struggle I'm going through is not for me. This struggle is to make me learn a lesson so I can share the lesson. And sis, right now you are sharing the lesson. Tell them about what you're doing now in regards to helping students, because there's some students out there who need help.
Yeah. So in the midst of this book, I said, okay, I want to start an LLC. Mind you, these are just ideas. So I started an LLC a year ago, and I was like, you know what? I only took one bar exam. So I took one bar exam. I didn't take like three, four. I said, but I think I've learned enough about it, skill wise and study wise, to teach other people.
Right.
And I felt in law school too, I was a teaching assistant. I felt I knew enough about that to teach people. So I decided to launch an LLC. So I tutor law students in law school courses. I also tutor bar prep students to pass the bar exam. But for me, I also have a psychological approach, because if you think about a child, if you tell a child, like, you know, you can, you will become, you can do, those things matter to a law student. You tell a law student you just don't get it, you got to read more. It's not about me reading more. I need somebody to pour into my mental. I
Mm.
need somebody to motivate me. And I've learned that that simple motivation, me telling, like, a person I'm tutoring, you can do this, that little tweak, it, like, made this person write a better essay. It wasn't me sitting down saying you got to write a better IRAC. It's me telling you, you have this, like, minor defeat right now, but if you think back to everything that you overcame in your life, this is minor. And so I remember talking to a student, he was struggling, and I was like, you just told me your best friend is dying of cancer, you managing a business, you have, like, had classes, so this small feat of you can't write this essay is nothing. He's like, Naja, I needed that, because if I can, like, fight through all of this and still show up every day, and you have parents too. I have so many law students who are parents. You are a parent. You are raising a child, multiple children. You may be married, have a family. If you can do that and be successful, you can be successful in law school and passing the bar exam. So for me, tutoring is a little deeper. It's not just me showing you tips and strategy and skills. It's making sure that I'm pouring into you, motivating you, praying for you, like, figuring out, like, psychologically what you need to hear to get you through the day, because it is a journey.
Yeah. I mean, she's planting seeds. So that way, when she's not there, your seeds of your own self-worth and confidence are growing. Sis, you have been phenomenal.
Thank you, Anthony.
My favorite episodes. You guys. And Christy the Rich, thank you so much for posting in the chat where to get the book. It's called Dismiss the Esquire, Law School Survival Guide. It helped her go through law school and reclaim her dream. And you know what? To anybody out there who wants to go to law school, especially if you're first gen, this is something that you want to read. Listen, this is a humbling process. It's not about your intelligence. It's about your willingness to hear, willingness to pivot, and willingness to face the challenges. Know that I may not know it now, but I will know it when it's ready, when it's time. So, Sid, I definitely want to give you the opportunity to give a last word before we head out.
Thank you, Anthony. And just for everyone who joined today, just keep in mind, like my favorite quote, when man says no, God always says yes. So any rejection that you have, take it on the chin, but just know that that rejection does not define your future. You know, people always take into account things that you like overcame adversities. Know that those things did not define you because you're here today. And if your ultimate dream is to become an attorney, you will become an attorney because you have everything inside of you, what it takes to be a successful attorney. And so I pray that everyone on this line become an attorney. And I pray that you will also help someone else because you have to pull as you climb.
And to you guys out there, we're praying for you. We're rooting for you. You already got somebody here who's here for you. So please realize that you do not have to do this journey on your own. We cannot wait to see you, celebrate you, manifesting your journey. The challenge is a part of your growth. We'll see you the same time next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. For you guys out there, subscribe to our YouTube channel at BecomingJD. And peace and blessings. We pray for you. We root for you. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everybody.